Thank you. Thank you for standing by, and welcome to the Imugene Investor Webinar, following our recent announcement regarding our strategic manufacturing and process development partnership with Kincell Bio. My name is Heather Armstrong, and I'm Imugene's Head of U.S. Investor Relations. I'm joined today by Leslie Chong, Imugene's Managing Director and CEO, Dr. Brad Glover, Imugene's Chief Operating Officer, and Dr. Bruce Thompson, CEO of Kincell Bio. All participants are in listen-only mode. Today's speakers will provide opening remarks, and then we will open up the call for questions. We've already received several questions via email, but if you'd like to submit a question via Zoom, please do so using the Q&A panel within the Zoom app. In the interest of our guests and time, we will only answer questions related to the deal. I'll now hand the call over to Leslie. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Heather. You know, as most of you are already aware, Imugene is a clinical focus and clinical drug development company. We are experts at developing cancer drugs, and this is our core mission, which is to develop transformative cancer medicines to improve patients' lives and value and trust with our stakeholders. We announced this exciting strategic manufacturing process development partnership with Dr. Bruce Thompson and Kincell Bio. This is a collaboration that directly supports our Imugene's core competency and stated mission. I'll now turn this call over to Dr. Brad Glover to provide more details on the strategic value of this partnership. Brad?
Thank you, Leslie. So this deal is a win-win for many reasons. First, on the financial front, this deal helps extend our runway into 2026. As a result of the transfer, Imugene will recognize $32 million in staff cost reductions, manufacturing efficiencies, and overhead savings over the next 3 years. Extending this cash runway is crucial for sustainability and growth. It provides Imugene a buffer against unforeseen challenges, allowing for more strategic decision-making, and ensures the company's long-term viability in a competitive landscape. Under the terms of the agreement, Kincell will pay Imugene up to $6 million in upfront and milestone-driven payments over 3 years to acquire our US-based North Carolina manufacturing facility, and they will now manufacture our azer-cel clinical supply. Second, on the expertise front, our experience and expertise lies specifically in developing oncology drugs. We've assembled an impressive team with over 150 years of combined experience in clinical development. Collectively, this team has brought 13 FDA-approved drugs to market. At our core, we are focused on clinical delivery. In comparison, Kincell is a contract development and manufacturing organization, or CDMO, and are experts in manufacturing. Third, on the resource allocation front, it allows Kincell and Imugene the opportunity to make the most of our respective resources. We expect a seamless transition of employees and knowledge base. Many of our manufacturing employees will transition to Kincell, allowing Imugene to retain that expertise and working relationship. In short, it allows both Kincell and Imugene the opportunity to make the most of all of our resources. We are very excited about this partnership and look forward to working with Kincell. I'll now turn the call over to Dr. Bruce Thompson, CEO of Kincell. Bruce?
Thank you, Brad. We are also very excited about this partnership and appreciate the strong alignment and expertise this allows for. For those of you who aren't familiar with Kincell Bio, we're a technology-forward contract development and manufacturing organization, or CDMO, as Brad mentioned. And we were formed to streamline analytical and process development, as well as CMC consulting and early-phase GMP cell therapy manufacturing. Our initial focus is on the manufacturing of commercially viable immune cell therapies, including both autologous and allogeneic CAR-T, CAR-NK, and CAR-macrophage programs. This partnership really allows us both to focus on our respective strengths. Specifically, each organization is focused on delivering against their core competencies: clinical development of life-saving therapies for Imugene, and CMC development and GMP manufacturing of these therapies for Kincell. The transfer of the MCAT facility and staff to Kincell will enable a continued focus of the team on the production and release of azer-cel for ongoing and future clinical studies. The reduction of overhead by transferring the partially utilized facility will benefit Imugene by saving cash, and it will benefit Kincell by adding additional manufacturing capacity and expertise to our runway and to our network. The MCAT facility is highly complementary to our existing clinical facility in Florida, which is focused on early clinical. The MCAT facility gives us later stage manufacturing capability, capacity, and expertise. And finally, the development partnership with Imugene to optimize the azer-cel product further strengthens our capabilities in process and analytical development. Leslie, I'll hand it back to you for closing remarks.
I'm actually going to have Heather open up the line for some questioning, if there's any.
Thank you, Leslie. Once again, if you have a question, please type it in using the Q&A panel within Zoom. As a reminder, in the interest of our guests and time, we will only answer questions related to the deal. We'll try to get through as many questions as possible in the time permitted. Let's begin. The first question is for Bruce. What does this partnership do for Kincell?
So the partnership for Kincell is a number of things. One, it's a strategic alignment with a clinical cell therapy developer in Imugene that allows us to support mid-phase to developing late-phase clinical studies. It helps us understand, as we progress our maturity as a company with a partner in late clinical development, the path forward. It also allows us to continue our analytical and process development build with a valued partner in Imugene.
Thank you. The next question is for Leslie. You said that you extended your runway into 2026. How far into 2026? And what will you do with the extra money?
Well, so, as I off mute, yes. So as I said earlier, we're a clinical drug development company, and that's exactly what we'll do. We'll take that money and spend it sprinkling along all our clinical development programs.
The next question is about the deal. We had a few questions come in that are similar. And basically, people are wondering, can you walk through the terms of the deal in more detail? Brad, I think this question is most appropriate for you.
Sure. It's up to $6 million upfront in milestone payments over 3 years.
The next question is for Bruce. How many Imugene employees will Kincell take on?
So the goal with the strategic agreement with Imugene has always been to ensure that we move across the facility and the appropriate staff members to execute on the production and optimization of azer-cel. So we've done that. We've pulled across the staff to maintain operations and help us focus on the production of the azer-cel product as it continues its clinical development.
The next question is the same type of question, and yet it is referring to Imugene. Brad, can you tell us how many employees did you have before the announcement, and how many does Imugene have now?
Well, what we can say is that with the transfer of the manufacturing facility and the staff and outsourcing of azer-cel process development to Kincell, Imugene will be able to reduce staff by approximately 50%, and indeed extend our runway to 2026.
We've received a few questions along the same lines related to the transaction and how it came about. Leslie, has your plan always been to do a transaction like this, or did it happen opportunistically?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both, but our strategic plan has always been to maximize our expertise, which is clinical development, and our capabilities. We want to develop products in the clinic and continue to do so. And so we found an expert partner to take on that manufacturing and the people with it so that we don't lose any of the transition of and production of our precious azer-cel. So this transaction only reinforces this objective. And so we're delighted to find a very trusted and experienced CAR-T manufacturing facility like Kincell. And Bruce.
Leslie, this one is keeping along the lines of how you just answered, but why did you choose Kincell?
Look, I just answered that question, but Kincell leverages extensive scientific expertise, as you can see on the back of Bruce's wall, all his many myriad of degrees and industry knowledge. He actually lives in North Carolina, so that is just perfect fit for our North Carolina facilities. We believe strongly that he and his company are the best partners to move forward in this collaboration.
The next question that came through is for Bruce. And the question is, do you have other manufacturing facilities?
Yeah, so I'm gonna take a liberty and step back just a bit and thank you, Leslie, for the kind words. I am a T-cell immunologist by training. And the facility, the MCAT facility here in RTP is a known for us. So we have a number of portfolio company members, strategic advisors in our investment community that know of the Precision facility and have known of the facility and the staff for some time. So to be able to partner with Imugene on the transaction for us was a great opportunity, right? Because we had already had great insight into the facility, the people, and the azer-cel product. So for us, it was a nice natural combination. We do have existing facilities in Gainesville, Florida. We have a half a dozen suites that are functional for the production of autologous cell therapies, primarily patient-derived. So the allogeneic nature of the donor-derived azer-cel is also an opportunity for my team to continue to spread their scientific wings, if you will.
We have time for a couple more questions. Leslie, the next one is for you. Does this deal mean that you don't believe in azer-cel anymore?
Quite on the contrary, we actually believe in azer-cel so much that we're trusting and have found a willing partner. At the core of what Imugene is drug developers. And with this deep expertise in this field, we chose to align ourselves with Kincell, who also has expertise in manufacturing CAR-Ts and cellular therapy. So it's a perfect win-win situation. So we get to maximize our core capabilities and leverage our respective expertise. So it's quite on the contrary. We believe in azer-cel. We're moving very swiftly with azer-cel development. And even with this, we haven't lost any time. The transition is very smooth. As we said, the manufacturing facility folks are moving along to Kincell and expanding their knowledge while we continue to practice our knowledge in drug development.
Another question came through regarding just in terms of the deal, will Imugene get priority over other companies as part of this deal or not? Bruce, can you walk us through a little bit more and provide some context related to this question?
Sure. That's it's always a challenging question in the CDMO third-party services space. The agreement we have with Imugene is a strategic partnership, which affords them a great deal of priority in our go-forward capacity mix. The facility has 4 suites. The production of azer-cel over the next couple of years may well occupy one of those. So we have sufficient capacity to support the azer-cel program. And Brad and his team and myself and my team will form a joint steering committee to manage those priority, call them S&OP is the traditional terminology to look at the ability to schedule the production of the materials. But the short answer is yes, they'll have priority in our strategic partnership.
Bruce, the next question is also for you. Is there a technical transfer required for the manufacturing of Azer-cel?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think if you think about a traditional movement to a CDMO, there is a tech transfer. But because we've acquired both the facility and the staff, that technical knowledge stays within the facility and the staff. You could argue there's a slight technical transfer because we have to update the documentation and we own the quality agreements. So there's a bit of an information switch, but that is not a traditional tech transfer because the knowledge stays with the staff and the facility.
And Bruce, there's another one that came in for you. Is Kincell currently working with any other Australian biotech companies?
We are not at the moment, but as we expand our capacity, we would welcome those opportunities. I think there is a burgeoning clinical development effort in Australia that's certainly exciting to move into the US in that market. And so I do think there's a great opportunity for Kincell to partner with other Australian biotechs as we move forward.
All right. Well, I think for the last question, it'll be more of a big picture question for Leslie. And it is, how does Imugene see itself as a company over the next several months?
So as we've done before, we took on Azer-cel in the manufacturing facility. We learned so much so that we could spin it out to a great, maybe even greater home for the manufacturing piece. But what we'll do is what we have done before is to continue on clinical development. That's our core competency. And so we will not change our movement or our speed. We're simply going to be much more focused on our clinical development and clinical expertise.
Well, and that might be a nice opening. Leslie, do you have any additional closing remarks before we wrap up this session?
Well, I just want to thank Dr. Thompson and Dr. Glover, as well as Matt and Heather for joining me on the webinar. It's nice and refreshing to have additional folks on. I want to thank everybody. And at some point, Bruce will have to come to Australia and actually see the huntsman spiders that we have plenty of here.
I'm not sure that I look forward to that particular aspect, but would love to come visit and see the facility and meet the broader team. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. And I realize that there's some additional questions that came in. Please, we will be able to respond most of those via email, but in the interest of time, this will conclude today's webinar. Thank you to everyone who participated. You may now disconnect.